Hey, you guys, I hope all is well with you all. I'm doing well on this side. I want to first thank everyone who've messaged me, called, text, and you guys are amazing. Thank you. Thank you for your love that you sent my way, and I just appreciate it. I've been wanting to do a video, but just time. I don't know why when I get started doing videos, I start clearing my throat, whatever. But anyway, as you guys may or may not know, those who may be just passing through. Anyway, my dad, my king, he decided that he was ready and tired, and he was ready to go. Um, it's been it was July 7th. Um, that he passed away. I had just went to see him like 4 days before. I wasn't able to go see him prior because a couple people had colds or some things going on in the house, and I, didn't want to go at that time, or so. So when I did get to see him, it was such like I was so anticipating and couldn't wait to see him because it had been like over a month. But we did talk on the phone. And I think in one of the pictures on here that I posted, um, you can see me and him FaceTiming each other. And I'm thankful that my brother did that for me. Um, but anyway, it was very hard, as you guys may know. I call myself Daddy's girl, Daddy's little girl, because he had 5 girls. But I call myself Daddy's little girl because I was the last one. My dad was such an amazing man, and if you knew him, you would love him. Like, he is such an amazing man. I speak as if he's still in that body, but I know he is not in that body, but he still is among us. So, and I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful. I wanted to share with you guys, and this is in the spiritual world, how powerful when you just connect yourself, and we all are connected if we choose to be connected to nature, um, people, those things. Because I'm connected, like I have a tribe of people that I'm connected to, and I don't have to be around them. I don't even have to know them, but I can sense them. It's such a powerful situation. Um, my dad. Okay, I went and saw my dad that Thursday. Me and Adriana. Um, so I'm not gonna go into a lot of details, but when I saw him, I was sad. Like, that wasn't a dad that I've known all my life. Like, he didn't look the same. It was just a different situation. And prior, my brother had to take him to the hospital because his blood pressure had dropped. One time I was on the phone talking to him. I'm going back now, y'all. Y'all should know me. One time I was on the phone talking to him for about an hour, and we were just talking and laughing, and y'all gonna hear my ice maker dropping ice. I might do a review on that. But anyway, he all of a sudden he just started babbling like low and like, because he was just having a deep, like, a conversation, and we were talking, and I'm like, Dad, 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 and I'm like, and I hung up because I called his name so many times, and I just kept hearing this mumbling, and I hung up with him, called my brother, which was in the other room from my dad. I called my brother's phone, and he went in and he was like, oh, he said, I think they checked his blood pressure, and his blood pressure was low. And my brother's like, no, that's good. I said, no, a low blood pressure is just like if it was a high blood pressure. So I said, give him some crackers, something to give him some sodium to raise his pressure up. So they did that. He was fine. But anyway, and mind you, he was on some blood pressure pills. I think that was all he took, which I don't think he needed that. Plus, I gave him iron. I would give him Whole Foods iron because they want to give him the iron prescription. But for years, I've been giving him. I think it was like 3, 4 years that I've been buying iron for him so he can take that. Which he was just his platelets and everything went up after I gave him the food based iron. So anyway, so about a week later, my brother had to take him to the hospital, or was it 2 weeks later? And his blood pressure was low again. But anyway, this was within that month and a little over a month that I hadn't saw him. That's the ice dropping. So anyway, um, so doing, I just kind of went back, and I'm going back now to when I saw him. He anyway, he was coming out the door, because I knocked on the door, and my brother's girlfriend, I let her know I was coming and everything. So he was coming out the door and everything, um, and everything. So, and I'm not gonna go into details, but anyway, he didn't look like himself to me, and he looked it tired, like, and just I'm gonna say tired. He just looked it tired to me. Um, so anyway, okay, you know, at this, and also my dad eyes was kind of going back. All this was it was in a couple of months where his eyes started deteriorating. Like, he had cataracts on his eyes, so they got worse. Like, he couldn't really see. And if you guys look at the video of his birthday, he really couldn't see that good, but it had got worse than that within these 4 months, because his birthday was in February, is in February. So anyway, and I was helping him back in the house, and he was trying to sit down, but he was getting ready to sit down on the coffee table. So anyway, I'm like, helping him to sit in the chair and everything. And when I got him to sit down, my dad is the type of person, he wants to do everything on his own. Even at 94, like, I can walk, I can take care of myself. And I'm just like him, like, no, don't help me. If I ask you to help me, then yes, but don't just, you know, even though I have learned to receive. Not that I'm not a receiver, but let me keep going. Anyway, um, so anyway, me and him was talking back and forth and everything, but he wasn't talking like he usually talked. Um, and I noticed while we were talking, he would hold his head down. Like, this is a strong man at 94. He never holds his head down unless he done went to sleep. So I'm like, Dad, like, why are you holding your head down? What's wrong? So I went to rubbing his back and everything, and he lifted his head up, trying to be like, I'm up, I'm here, I'm still here. But then he put his head down, and I kind of was holding him and hugging him and like, are you okay? What's going on, Dad? Why you looking like this? What's going on? But he just didn't. He wasn't the same. Like, it was just like he wasn't even the same. He was trying to hold a conversation with me, but he just wasn't the same. So anyway, I left. I left there crying. I left there crying. And I noticed he kept, mentioning my sister, older sister. So I called him like, you need to go over and see Dad. You know, go see him. And I called my other sister. She doesn't live here in this city. She lived, it would take her a while to get here. So I called her because I just felt like he was talking to me, like, because his head down, that's not him. Even he had prostate cancer. He was a strong man through it all, and he lived over 20 years after that. Like over 20 years after dealing with that chemo and everything. Um, but anyway, I just saw he was tired. He was weak. So now we're on to Saturday. Saturday. So we went Thursday. Me and my family, we hear out the door, and my baby, she was like, "Oh, look, it's a possum." My dad just was talking to me on the phone about a possum and stuff like that, and I would ask him questions about possum and stuff, because most country people eat or ate possum in their life, possum and raccoons, or coons they call them, and rabbits, and so we were talking about a possum. But anyway, so this possum is under our shed, and it's peeping. I'm looking at the shed as I'm talking to you guys, but it's kind of peeping its head out, looking, and I'm like, and I'm talking to my husband, like, something wrong with this possum. What is going on? And he kind of peeping and moving a little slow, and he kind of come on from under the shed, and we're out there like feet away from at least 24 feet or less away from this possum. Like, I am sure this ain't normal. Like, we've had possum in the yard, raccoons in the yard, and they're trying to, get away with their little family, especially little raccoons. But this possum, he was kind of moving slow, and oh my, I don't know what's going on with me today. Anyway, he was coming from under the shed, and he was just standing there. And he looked around, he did this, he was moving, you know. I told my husband, I said, something is wrong with that possum. He said, no, 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 that's how they do. I said, no, no, something is wrong with this possum. This is not normal. Like, I just knew something is wrong with this possum. So the possum came more closer to where we were, but it was in the grass. We was on the porch, and he was kind of in the middle. So I told my husband, what is going on with this? Like, why is this possum hanging around here? Like, it's not trying to get anywhere. Like, it's not. So anyway, we came in the house, and I just couldn't keep my eyes off this possum. I went back to the door. I was in the kitchen, like where I'm at now, and I still see the possum in the yard, in the same area, just looking around. And he looked like he looked at me a couple times while I'm in the house. So I go to the back door, and I say, you came here to tell me something. I knew the possum came here to tell me something. Like, this just came over me. I said, what is it? Why are you here? Why I talk to the lizards and everything. Because they be telling you something. You just need to hear what they're saying. We be like, get away, because that's what was my first initial thing. But I saw that, no, this is something. This is a spiritual thing here. So I asked the possum, why are you here? What, you came here to tell us something? What is you here to tell us? You came here to tell me something? And when I said that, my daddy face flashed across me. I look back at this possum in the same way that possum was. That's the way my dad was. It was feeble and it was moving the same way. And I immediately, I'm like, oh my gosh, this possum came here to tell us. I'm like, well, I'm worried my phone. I'm calling my dad, calling my dad, calling him. No answer, no answer. I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, that was Saturday or Sunday. So anyway, I believe it was the next day or 2 days later. I dreamed about my older brother, which his name is like my dad, Oscar. I dreamed that he died, just as plain as day. And it's so crazy that day, me and my brother, we don't talk that much, like on a regular, because he's always busy. I'm really not a phone person. If you get me on the phone, I'm on the phone, but I'm not. I'm not a phone person like that. So anyway, he called me that day, that morning. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is weird. Why is this boy calling me? So anyway, he talking and we sharing stuff. I said, I dreamed about you, but I didn't want to tell him what I dreamed about him. He said, I hope it was good, and I ain't say nothing. I'm not gonna say I dream you, Pat. I wasn't finna do that. Put a thought damper on him. I just didn't want to do that. So anyway, the next day, I got calls that my dad was rushed to the hospital. And not long after that, I got I just knew like my dad was gone. Like I told my brother, they know he's gone. He's gone. Like they running tests and all. This is what they do. They say, what you want us to do? Oh, we want you to save our family member. They want you to say that, especially if you got insurance. So of course we want to save our loved ones. You know, do whatever it takes. So anyway, my brother told me, he said they resuscitated him 3 or 4 times. And he said my dad's fist was balled up. I said, he's saying, leave him alone. Leave him alone. I told my brother, he's gone. Like, he's gone. I said, he's gone. He came here to tell me that already. He was preparing me some days before. So anyway, we got the call. He was gone. My brother called. Told me he was gone, my twin brother. So anyway, later on, my brother's girlfriend, she really helped out with taking care of my dad, making sure he eat and take his medicine and stuff like that. So, and I would take him, some lunch, and not breakfast, but lunch or dinner sometimes. And sometimes, because he liked the fish, I would take him some fish. I don't promote, but that's what he wanted, so. And he didn't eat much. Like, he really didn't eat sugar and white rice. Really, he didn't really eat that kind of stuff. I believe that's why he stayed here longer. So anyway, I talked to my brother's girlfriend, and I'm like, okay, this was like days later because I wasn't ready to hear what happened. So I asked her, and she was telling me he was doing his regular routine. She got him up and everything to eat his breakfast and to take his blood pressure medicine, which is a very key here, blood pressure medicine. Okay? So anyway, something you can fix anyway, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, And so he ate his breakfast. She said he got up and he normally push his little walker thing and sit and take a nap. He might watch a little TV, but he always take a nap after he eat. So he did his regular routine, that part, and he normally goes to the bathroom right after he get up from his little nap, little quick nap. But my brother's girlfriend was in the room. She really didn't notice that he didn't do it, but I guess she kind of noticed later on, like, oh, he didn't go, you know. But she really probably figured he's still napping, so she left him napping. So anyway, her grandson came and told her, Grandma, or I don't know what he called her, but he was like, something's wrong or something. You got to come. He's 4. I think he's 4 years old. So anyway, he goes and get her, and then she goes and she realized my dad had thrown up, and he hadn't. She was calling him, no response. He wasn't responding. Like he had no pulse. Nothing was going on with him. So she calls my brother. He's working, so he couldn't hear his phone ringing. But anyway, she called the ambulance. My brother's girlfriend told me that my dad died right there in his sleep. So I was, thankful that he didn't suffer other than what they were trying to bring him back. Um, but he didn't suffer. He just went to sleep and he didn't wake up. And that's the kind of life he lived, a peaceful life. He loved everybody. Um, he was such an amazing man. I'm not saying that because he's my dad, but that's just who he is. And anybody that knows him will tell you the same. Me and my husband was just talking about him last night, how he just treated him just like his son, just like his son. And he was so grateful to be a part of his life. So I am just so thankful and grateful that I had an amazing dad. And I'm talking about my dad right now. I am thankful for my mom and grateful for her as well. But this video, because some people, family members will take this and add on to what their thoughts of me and my mom. But it's okay. I'm so thankful that me and her, we got everything squared away. Wow, ice drop again. So anyway, I miss both of my parents. If you guys have them, your parents with you, love them, spend time with them, and do all you can. Do all you can for your parents, you know. And I'm grateful that I had all the opportunities, all the times that I spent with my mom and my dad, which I wished I had more time with my mom. But I was saying, wow, we did a lot of things together. I was just telling my husband, oh, she was with me when I got my wisdom tooth out. Like, I had to have surgery, and this was years ago. I'm like, oh, she was right there. She's the one who drove me. She was there when I was taking the test. This is about my king, not the queen, right now. So, anyway, I'm thankful and I'm grateful for my parents, both of them. And you guys spend all the time you can with them. If you can't be there, call. Try to be there as much as you can. And I made sure I went to see my dad and always take him things, buy him things, whatever you need, I got you. You understand? And that's how it should be with our parents. And that's just how it was. So anyway, thank you guys again. And right now, I'm doing good. I'm doing what helps me. And I want to say this. My baby asked me, Adriana, she asked me, Mom, this was that day, that Thursday we went to see him. She didn't see him because she's allergic to dogs, and my brother have a dog in the house, so she couldn't go in. So I didn't want her. She want anyway. After we left, and I was crying, I'm like, oh my gosh. She asked me, Mom, I want to go see Grandpa. I didn't want her to see him like that. It was hard for me to remember him in that way. But what helped me, he came to me in the shower. While the showers, the water is just where I get a lot of downloads, and not this. I've been like this all my life, but that's where the awakening came also for me. But my dad said, I wanted you to see me that way because I wanted you to see that I was tired and I was ready to go. That was a gift to me. So I'll know that he was tired and he was ready to go. So he gave me some days to prepare myself. So let me get off here, y'all. 1,000 roses, one love. Peace.